Two men, same country, same era, completely opposite lives. Ronald Reed spent his entire career as a gas station attendant and janitor in Vermont. He drove a used car. He patched his own jacket with safety pins. He ate at the same diner every single morning and ordered the same thing. When he died at 92, his will shocked everyone who knew him. $8 million, quietly accumulated over decades in dividend-paying stocks. His lawyer had no idea. His neighbors had no idea. His family barely knew. Now meet Richard Fuscone, Harvard MBA, vice chairman at Merrill Lynch, a sprawling mansion in Greenwich, Connecticut, a second home, a full staff, a lifestyle that looked like the finish line everyone else was running toward. By 2008, gone. Bankruptcy, foreclosure, the mansion sold at auction for pennies on the dollar. One of these men had every structural advantage the American system offers. The other had almost none. So how did the janitor die a multimillionaire while the Harvard executive died broke? That question is the entire premise of one of the most important books written about money in the last 20 years, The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. And the answer has nothing to do with intelligence. It has nothing to do with connections or opportunity. It has everything to do with behavior. I'm going to break down 5 lessons from that book, lessons that will permanently change how you think about saving, spending, investing, and what it actually means to be wealthy. Stay with me through Lesson 5, because Lesson 5 has nothing to do with money, and it might be the most important one. Let's start with a truth that makes most of us deeply uncomfortable. You are not fully in control. I know, that idea goes against the entire American ethos, the self-made man, pulling yourself up by your bootstraps, the belief that our outcomes are a direct reflection of our effort and our character. But consider this. In 1968, a 13-year-old kid in Seattle got access to a computer terminal at his school at a time when most universities in the entire country didn't have one. That kid spent thousands of hours learning to code before almost anyone else his age had ever touched a keyboard. That kid was Bill Gates. But here's the question nobody asks about that story. What if his family had lived 3 miles in a different direction? What if he'd been zoned for a different high school? Gates himself admits it. He was born at the right time, in the right place, to the right family, with the right wiring. All of those things had to be true simultaneously. His friend and classmate, Kent Evans, had the same raw talent, the same drive, the same early access to that computer. By most accounts, he was equally likely to become something extraordinary. He died in a mountaineering accident before he graduated. Same starting point, completely different outcomes, not because of character, not because of effort, because of risk. Morgan Housel's point isn't that hard work doesn't matter, it matters enormously. His point is that success is never as clean as the story we tell about it afterward, and failure is never as deserved as we assume. Jesse Livermore was once considered the greatest stock trader in American history. He made $100 million in 1929 by perfectly shorting the market crash. He was celebrated as a genius. A decade later, he was bankrupt. Then he took his own life. Same person, same brain, same instincts, different luck, different risk. So what do you do with this? You stop treating your wins as pure proof of your genius. You stop treating your losses as pure proof of your failure, and you build a financial life that can survive the moments when luck runs cold, because it always will. All right, that brings us to lesson 2. Getting rich and staying rich are completely different skills. Think about it. You spend your whole life learning how to make money, how to earn more, how to invest, how to build something. But when did anyone ever teach you how to keep it? Because they are not the same skill. They're not even close. Getting rich often rewards aggression, confidence, a high tolerance for risk, the willingness to bet big and be wrong a few times on the way to being spectacularly right. Staying rich rewards something completely different: humility, paranoia, the ability to be satisfied with what you have, the discipline to not blow up the machine you already built. Mike Tyson earned over $400 million during his boxing career. $400 million. He filed for bankruptcy in 2003. The skills that made him the most feared fighter in the planet, the aggression, the all-or-nothing mentality, the refusal to ever play defense, were the exact same skills that destroyed his finances. Sam Bankman-Fried built a $26 billion crypto empire before he was 30. He was on magazine covers, testifying before Congress. He kept gambling long after he'd already won the game, and he lost everything in about 72 hours. Now look at Warren Buffett. No magazine covers for making one brilliant trade, no legendary moment where he bet it all on a single position and won. Just 70 years of doing the boring right thing. Buying good businesses, not selling them, not borrowing against them, not getting distracted by the exciting new thing. Buffett has said it himself. His wealth isn't from being the smartest investor, it's from being a pretty good investor for an almost incomprehensibly long time without ever blowing up. Compounding only works if you never interrupt it. That's the whole game. So yes, take risks to build, be aggressive when you're starting out. But the moment you have something worth protecting, the game changes. The goal stops being to maximize returns. The goal becomes to survive long enough for compounding to do what only compounding can do. Which leads us to lesson 3. Real wealth is invisible. Quick question. You're at a red light and a new Porsche 911 pulls up next to you. What's your first thought? You probably think, that person is wealthy. Here's what you actually know. That person spent a lot of money. Those are not the same thing. Morgan Housel makes a point that sounds simple until you really sit with it. Wealth is not what you see. Wealth is specifically what you chose not to spend. The Porsche is the opposite of wealth. The Porsche is wealth that has been converted into a depreciating object that signals status to strangers who will forget about it in 4 seconds. Ronald, the janitor, understood this without ever reading a finance book. He didn't buy the new car. He didn't upgrade the house. He didn't perform wealth for an audience that wasn't watching. He just kept buying stocks, quietly, for 70 years, and let the compounding work in complete silence. Meanwhile, a huge percentage of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck right now. That includes a significant number of people earning 6 figures. How is that possible? Because income and wealth are not the same variable. Income is what flows in. Wealth is what stays. And in a culture that has built an entire economy around the performance of prosperity, the pressure to convert income into visible status is relentless. The new car, the bigger apartment, the wardrobe that matches the salary. Every one of those decisions is a choice to be seen as wealthy, rather than to actually become wealthy. The people who are genuinely building something, they're invisible, they're boring, they're compounding, and they don't need you to know about it. So if wealth is invisible, how do you know when you have enough? That brings us to the 4th and most dangerous lesson, the trap of never enough. I want you to think about a number, the number that if your bank account hit it would make you feel genuinely secure, genuinely okay, like you could finally exhale. Got it? Now, here's what the research consistently shows. Whatever number you just thought of, when you get there, you will not feel the way you think you will. You might feel it for a few weeks, maybe a month, and then the number will move. It always moves, automatically, without your permission. The goalpost relocates the moment you reach it. Rajat Gupta grew up in poverty in Kolkata. He came to America with almost nothing and built himself into the CEO of McKinsey, one of the most prestigious positions in global business. He sat on the boards of Goldman Sachs and Procter & Gamble. His net worth crossed $100 million, and it wasn't enough. He started passing insider information to a hedge fund manager, not because he needed the money, but because the people around him had more, because the number had moved again. He was convicted of securities fraud and lost everything he'd spent a lifetime building, $100 million, and it wasn't enough. Housel calls the mycological mechanism behind this the man-in-the-car paradox. When you see someone driving an expensive car, you don't actually think how impressive that person is. You think about how impressive you would look driving that car. We buy things to be perceived by people who are in reality just thinking about themselves. The entire engine of lifestyle inflation runs on this illusion. So here's the only real solution. Define enough on your own terms before the culture defines it for you. Write down the actual number, the actual life, the version of enough that would genuinely satisfy you if you never compared it to anyone else's. And then, when you get there, learn how to stop. Because the person who can stop is the wealthiest person in the room. And that brings us to the final lesson. Everything we've talked about so far has been building to this. The real return on money is time. Forget investment returns, forget the net worth number, forget the retirement account balance. The highest return money can generate, the one that actually changes how a human life feels from the inside, is control over your own time. The ability to wake up and decide how you spend your